Good morning and welcome to Custom Signals webinar series. My name is Colin McIver and today I'm joined by Kent Hayes, our Speed Product Manager. Thanks for joining us, Kent.
Thanks, Colin. I'm glad to be here.
Well, October is Pedestrian Safety Month, so today we're focusing on pedestrian safety and ways that agencies can help reduce speeding and other behaviors that have led those on foot to feel like their safety is eroding away. We want our loved ones to feel safe when they walk to school, go for a quick jog, or even if they are out for a Sunday stroll. Unfortunately, a worrying trend has continued to snowball in the past few years: vehicle-involved pedestrian deaths. According to the Governor's Highway Safety Association, 7,485 people were killed on foot in 2021. That's the most deaths in a single year in over 4 decades. That means approximately 20 people die every day while walking to school, walking to work, or just trying to cross the street. Communities across the nation are beginning to wake up and speak out against this troubling issue. So we've brought in Kent to help us learn more about this worrying trend and discuss what some departments across the country and across the world are doing to stop it. For those of you viewing live, feel free to ask questions in the chat and we will be sure to answer you at the end. So Kent, how bad has it gotten?
Well, Colin, you just said it. 20 pedestrian fatalities every day. That's shocking, and it's avoidable. We've got deaths that have been rising annually since 2009, and in 2021, the deaths increased 62% compared to the 2009 levels. That's the worst amount of pedestrian fatalities in over 40 years. And pedestrian deaths are increasing faster than any other type of traffic fatality.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see some of these statistics. I knew traffic deaths were up, but why are pedestrian fatalities up so much?
Well, we've got an increase in motorists that are speeding. We also have an increase in impaired driving, an increase in distracted driving, but there's also an increase in distracted pedestrians. Unfortunately, the fatalities among children under the age of 15 have doubled in just the last year alone.
Wow. Now, with the COVID pandemic that we recently had, I know there were a lot of lockdowns and shutdowns that meant there were less motorists out on our roadways. Shouldn't the number of pedestrian fatalities have also decreased?
Well, logically, you would think that would be so, Colin, but unfortunately, the behaviors that led to pedestrian fatalities have also skyrocketed. We've got more reckless driving, more impaired driving, and excessive speeding.
And in what types of areas are these deaths increasing the most?
Well, there's pedestrian fatalities are increasing in roads without sidewalks, long stretches of roadways that may not be near intersections, arterial roadways, and also these locations may be difficult for officers to patrol or use speed enforcement.
So how do we stop this increasing trend and how do we decrease the pedestrian fatalities?
Well, the best way to do this is with traffic management. If you can separate the transportation pathways between motorists and pedestrians, you can eliminate the crashes altogether. But second would be mitigating the effects of a crash. If we can reduce the speeds where pedestrians are present, those lower vehicle speeds will yield in fewer crashes. And when crashes do occur, hopefully the injuries will be less acute. Now, speed enforcement is a proven method to reduce overall speeding, but speed awareness is also a proven method to slow down motorists. Speed awareness can also be a force multiplier with agencies that may have limited resources and when speed enforcement may not be an option.
Now, for those who may not know what they are, what are speed awareness products exactly?
Well, speed awareness is part of a group called speed calming devices. We can have speed calming devices that traffic engineers may use, like speed bumps or traffic tables or speed tables, or traffic circles, in intersections that can help reduce speedings. But there are also many speed awareness products available. Now, the ones from Kustom Signals that we feature are radar feedback displays. Now, these can be pole-mounted displays. They can be radar displays that are mounted on trailers. We even have large message boards that have radar feedback as well.
And how do these speed awareness products help reduce the number of pedestrian fatalities?
Well, we can reduce the fatalities by reducing the motorist speeds. That can reduce crashes, And the speed awareness products can also be deployed where it may be hard to do speed enforcement measures. I've got an illustration here that I'd like to show you that talks about speeding and how that can affect a motorist's ability to stop. Now we're going to focus on the top left half of this illustration, and we're going to show the perception time as well as the braking period for a motorist to stop. Now the first chart shows a motorist, let's say a typical sedan, driving 20 miles per hour. Now we've broken this up into the perception as well as the braking time. So it's going to take that motorist 44 feet to perceive or react to something happening, and another 18 feet to brake to come to a complete stop. That's a total of 62 feet traveled at just 20 miles per hour. Now look, if you look at 10 miles per hour faster, the next one down is a motorist that's driving 30 miles per hour. It's going to take them 66 feet to react and another 40 feet to come to a complete stop. That's over 100 feet traveled at just 30 miles per hour. Now, if you have a pedestrian that steps off the curb and you've got that motorist driving 30 miles per hour, 100 feet might not be enough in order to stop. And that could be the difference, that speed could be the difference between life and death.
Yeah, it absolutely could. Now I'm wondering, after these speed awareness products have been deployed and then moved to another location or removed for maintenance, wouldn't the speeding issues return to what they were previously?
That's a great question, Colin. The data actually says no. There are some long-term effects of these speed awareness programs. There was a study at Western Montana University where researchers observed a 6 mile per hour reduction at where a radar display was deployed, and another 3 mile per hour reduction down the road after where the display was deployed. Now, weeks after that trailer was removed, there was still a reduction in speed where that trailer was deployed and still a 2 mile per hour reduction down the road. Now, there was another study, Minnesota study that found the traffic was slower even a year after speed awareness products had been removed. Again, the data shows that speed awareness programs can have a long-term reduction in speeding.
Yeah, absolutely. Those stats definitely lead you to believe that speed awareness is one way to help combat this issue. Now, I know a lot of departments typically face budgetary restraints and sometimes funding issues. How can adding additional equipment help them with their speed enforcement programs as well as being cost effective?
One of the nice things about speed awareness is that it can be a force multiplier. You can increase an agency's footprint without adding additional personnel. And Kustom Signals also has grant assistance programs available from the Police Grants Help.
Now, let's move on to the deployment of these products. Where should departments deploy speed awareness products if they specifically want to decrease pedestrian fatalities?
Well, Colin, the best place is where you have known problem areas. This could be, again, long stretches of roadways that are not near intersections, roadways without sidewalks, basically anywhere where you have pedestrians and motorists with a common pathway. Also, these speed awareness products can be a great way to respond to community complaints. They're a great tool for community relations as well.
Another question about deployment. How easy are these trailers and PMDs to deploy?
Well, Colin, they're very easy to deploy. They're easily managed by one person, and officers or even volunteers can deploy and maintain these devices. And most of these trailers and the portable radar displays can be deployed in less than 5 minutes.
Wow, that is definitely quick and easy. I'm wondering, when would you use a trailer versus a pole-mounted display?
Well, Colin, it really depends on the roadway. First of all, for deploying a trailer, you need a good location. You want a safe area that's not impeding traffic, that's not impeding, say, bicycle lanes or blocking a sidewalk.
Right.
If you don't have a safe location to deploy a trailer, then a pole mount display is an effective tool as well. Now, both these trailers as well as the pole mount displays can be portable, so you can move them from one location to another. But we also have permanent pole mount displays available as well. For example, this display that we have here, it can be configured with both AC or solar power for permanent deployment.
You mentioned that these can be portable and can be moved from location to location. I'm wondering, how often can these be moved?
Really, Colin, it's whenever they're necessary. Both the trailers and pole mount displays are portable and can be easily moved from one location to another. With a simple battery configuration, most of these products can last between 7 and 10 days per deployment. But we can also add additional batteries or add solar panels to extend the run times. We even have autonomous configurations available on our large message boards where we configure with batteries as well as solar to match whatever the needs are. And these, when I say autonomous deployment, the message boards can be deployed for a full year without having to bring them in for a recharge. Again, so the power configurations are available for basically any customer use case.
Yeah, and for any customers regardless of their location.
That is correct.
Now, for the most part, we've been talking about law enforcement agencies, but are these products specifically for law enforcement, or are there other organizations that can make use of them?
Great question, Colin. No, they're not just for law enforcement. We have homeowners association, construction sites, even concerned citizens that are purchasing these products and deploying them in their communities for a safer environment. They're also a great tool for venues with special events. Say if you have an increase in pedestrian traffic that the motorists may not be used to, it's another great tool to deploy these message signs. They also are used in factories or warehouses where you may have forklifts or other motorized vehicles that may have a common pathway with pedestrian traffic.
That's a very unique scenario for those. Besides providing motorists with radar feedback, what other features do these displays and trailers have?
Oh, well, you mentioned the radar. First of all, the basic features include a directional radar. Directional means that we can discern the traffic direction. So we only want to display radar speeds for those targets that are approaching the display. We also have features that can set speed thresholds. For example, if you have a posted speed limit of 35 miles per hour, you may want to set an alert to trigger it, say 36 or 37 miles per hour. So we have various alerts that will sit there and get the motorist's attention and notify them or prompt them to slow down. There's other options available, and really these are platforms that can be configured to any agency's needs.
Yeah, and here in the studio we have one of our pole-mounted display options, the 18-inch here. But I'm wondering, does size matter, and why would I choose one size versus another?
It's a great question, Colin. The size of the display is really determined by the posted speed of the roadway. You're going to choose a character size that's the best viewability for the speed of the motorists. For example, if you have residential streets with lower speed limits, then a smaller radar display is going to be more than sufficient. However, if you have posted speed limits in roadways or highways where the speeds are much greater, then you're going to want to choose a character size that's appropriate so the motorists can see the display in order to get their attention and slow them down.
That's fantastic. I know you've mentioned several features of these displays and trailers and the like, but can they also act as traffic data collectors?
Yes, they can, Colin. The directional radar has another feature that's really nice when collecting data. So we're only displaying speeds for those targets that are approaching the display. However, we can also measure and collect the traffic data for those targets that are receding as well. So again, we can basically collect the traffic data for any of those motorists that are in the radar beam.
And a follow-up question to that, in what ways do these traffic statistics help agencies with their speed enforcement objectives?
Well, we can back up and just talk about collecting traffic data in general. It's very important to collect these traffic data to identify speeding issues. So if you identify a problem area, you can deploy speed awareness to continue or to slow down the motorists, and you can continue collecting data once you've deployed these speed awareness products. Now that data is going to be influenced by the radar feedback,
right?
But that's okay. We can measure the effectiveness of our speed awareness program by comparing the two data sets. Now, another nice thing about the traffic data, collecting that, is you can identify speeding problems, whether it was before we deployed the speed awareness products or after. You can look at problem areas, whether or not it's a particular time of day or a day of the week, and then you can have focused enforcement. So it's a more efficient way to deploying resources to do speed enforcement measures. Again, then there's also the long-term analysis as well. You can measure the long-term effectiveness of your speed awareness programs.
Well, that's fantastic. And thank you for answering all of our questions, Kent. We really appreciate having you here today.
All right.
Based on what we've learned today, it's very apparent that speeding kills. But preventing pedestrian fatalities can be an achievable goal. When motorists maintain safe speeds and practice other safe driving behaviors, safer walking environments are the result. It's clear that the stats are troubling, but our communities don't have to feel helpless. Although only part of the solution, effective speed enforcement and speed awareness programs have proven to be a formidable way to combat pedestrian fatalities, and through continued use can help reverse this trend and save thousands of lives. We thank you for coming to our webinar today, and as always, we appreciate the opportunity Kustom Signals has to continue serving our communities through public safety. If you're watching this live, a link to this video will be sent out to you shortly so you can rewatch or share with anyone who may not have been able to attend. You can also find out more information about our Kustom Signals products, upcoming webinars, and our grant assistance program by visiting us at kustomsignals.com. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Colin.